Everyone, how we all doing? Doesn't the weekend just feel so much better when you know your team won early and you can just watch the rest of football and just enjoy yourself? Lovely times. Anyway, I'm back with the player ratings after 3 week hiatus. I apologise. They take a bit of time. I don't have that, so yeah, I'm back with them. I'll try and keep doing them, but without any further ado, let's just get straight into them. And there's some high ones this week. There's some high ones. Of course, in usual fashion, we'll start with the goalkeeper, which is obviously Elon Meslier. An interesting kind of rating process for Elon, because at the end of the day, we're talking about Elon. I remember the start of the season. People were talking about his distribution, how he looked shaky. I think it's very apparent that as the season's going on, Elon Meslier is again finding that ball playing side of him, which he had when he first came to Leeds United, having that really coached out of him for 2 years, or well, a year and a half. So it's good to see him have that back, and he's actually a pivotal part in most build-up players. It will start from the goalkeeper, it will go back to the goalkeeper, and then go around the other side from the goalkeeper. So he has a big role in that sense, and he's really good at that. He's coming on a lot with it. The team are understanding, so there's always an option on. He's out with the ball if he has to, and he's patient. Of course, I had to lower him down just purely based on the fact that he should have either one caught the ball, or if anything, if you're not sure, parry it into an area, not straight back into the defender. So that is a mistake. I think he knows that. He's probably annoyed by that, so we won't leave on that too long. But that hasn't got him down from probably a 7.5 or a 7, because he distributes very solid. Apart from that, didn't have a lot to do. Yeah, 6.5. Fullbacks. Talk about Shaq real quick. Get him out of the way. I thought Shaq was decent. Struggled at the start, grew into the game, and when he switched to the other side at times, thought it was good. Yeah, like I said, struggled at the start, built into it, and by the end of it, second half was fairly solid. Had a decent game in the end. 6.5 though, just because of that shaky start, which he did have in possession as well. Sam Byram is, I think, if you're going off money and amount paid, arguably the best money signing, because it didn't cost anything off the season. That's ridiculous, by the way. The ability we're getting from him, the output we're getting from him, and the amount of game stuff how we've got from him, for someone who has terrible injury record, for someone who hasn't played a lot of football since he left Leeds United, and what he's bringing to the team. And I genuinely believe this. When he plays well, the team is 10 times better. You look at games where we've not played well and Sam Byram's been quiet, but when he has the license, or whatever it is it a tactical decision? Whenever he goes forward, he creates so much balance. The combinations down that side are excellent. The movement between him, Summerville, Rutter on that side are just phenomenal, with Kamara coming on the left as well. We look unbeatable down that left side when we have combinations, and Sam Byram is a huge part of that. Defensively, I think he got beat early on, but apart from that, solid in the back. I had to give him an 8. Could arguably be higher. Just because just 1 or 2 times earlier on the wing, he did get slightly beaten out of position at times. But apart from that, he was unbelievable, like he usually is. Solid 8 from Sam Byram. Could easily be an 8.5. Centre backs, hard to do this, because at the end of the day, they didn't have much to do, right? They really didn't. But again, that's down to the team. That's down to how we played. But I can't give them the low score. Didn't have much to do. I give them the high score because everything that they were required to do, and we're talking about possession here, we're talking about on the ball. I think the way they passed it was solid. I ran into midfield at times when they weren't that option and created spare options. Pascal won the battles, the second balls, because there were quite a few second balls. The recovery speed of Joe Rodon for that tackle was phenomenal, although he did stop. Which he shouldn't have done when he thought it was offside. He did stop. The recovery tackle was excellent. I give them both an 8. You'd argue it's probably a 7, 7.5, just based on the fact that they didn't have a lot to do. But that's not on them. It's still a good performance from them. Just a quiet one, but one in where they did exactly what was required when it was required, for the most part. Look, whoever's on the pitch could have got out probably to the goal they scored a bit quicker. But yeah, apart from that, these two were phenomenal. To be honest, Warriors, brilliant in there. Midfield. And this midfield here, especially in a team, when we decide to maintain the ball more, when we have more possession in a game, Kamara is quiet. I said this in my video yesterday. He's quietly the best player on the pitch. Not in terms of output or in terms of excitement or in terms of scoring goals, but every type of build-up we do, he is a part of it. He is a vital part of it. Ampadu is now, his role is slightly different now. Kamara's come into it. He doesn't have to be as involved in the build-up. He's that central man, and he does tend to stick there. There was times in the game where it dropped to left-back when Byron would get high, but that just leaves Kamara with more space, and Ampadu predominantly is the guy that we wanted him to be, you know, when it came to Leeds. There's not so much reliance on that forward play because we have a guy in Kamara who's passing weight and how hard he hits the ball and how good the pass is, how crisp it is. His 1-2 movement, his ability under pressure is phenomenal. He's so calm. I feel relaxed when he's playing. I feel like he's going to find a pass every time. I think he got 104 successful passes out of 108, which is phenomenal. 96% pass accuracy. That's what we need. And a lot of them, and if you watch the game back, they were good passes. They weren't just passing it for pass's sake. Cutting line passes, passes out wide, quick passes that was going on the attack. Kamara was excellent. Ampadu was Ampadu, as usual. Hence why I give him an 8 and not higher. Because he was just him. Not him and more. It was him, which is level is ridiculous. But Kamara was outstanding. He is growing in this side, and there is still a question for me about his ability or his input in a game when a team is a bit more aggressive or has more possession. So off the ball, you know, what's his position like? So there's still a few questions there. In a dominant formation where we have the ball most of the time, he's excellent. He's so excellent. Is that word? It is now. He was brilliant yesterday. It really was. It's the first one, people. It's the first 10. Now, I know there's a whole thing that you can never get a 10 because people can improve, but this isn't necessarily about people improving. This is about impact on the game, right? My rating. How did they impact the game? Creed got 2 goals and 2 assists, I believe, and we scored 4 goals. So, perfect. His dribbling stats were good. His passing stats were excellent. Could have had more assists. He probably could have scored another one. His positional play was brilliant. He was unplayable. Questioned his decision making. Rightly so, because at times he just hold on to the ball too much, or he delays the final pass or the final shot. The final shot isn't quite right. But yesterday, got it perfect. Goals were brilliant, well took. The assist he got, good. This guy is, and I said it, I think over a year ago when I started doing this. In terms of ceiling, this was before Rutter was here, by the way. I said in terms of ceiling, he has the most in the squad. He has the highest ceiling. This was before Gray and Rutter, who are now definitely up there with him. I still believe that. This guy's ceiling is ridiculous. You've seen what he can do when he's on a hot streak. Now, if a manager can get that hot streak out of him for 20 games a season, the numbers will fly. His dribbling, his ball control, his directness is outstanding. He manipulates the ball so well. He's a top talent. He really is. And I just hope now we get this consistent performance from Cree. Because that is what we need. Now he's got 6 goals and 6 assists. They are numbers. And yesterday, for me, from what he needed to do, he did perfectly. It's a 10. That's the standard. That's the top standard for what we need from all our attackers, what he did. That was the standard from Cree. Outstanding. Dan James, took his goal brilliantly. Do you know what I love about Dan James and what Farke's doing now? So most of our build-up plays predominantly from the left, right? That's where most of the counter chances come from. That's where most of the build-up is, down that left side, which is good for Dan James because ideally you don't want Dan James in a quick kind of 4, 5, 6 pass build-up, right? You want Dan James, like he showed twice, just on the final ball. He wants to be the final ball. Whether he's got a simple option of a 1v1 or a cross. That's where you want Dan James, because that's where he's good. That's where he's effective. And that's exactly what Daniel Farke's done with him. On that, and that's where Kamara helps the build up down the left. Dan James on that right, last man. That run, by the way, if you've seen it, he just goes. The timing is excellent, and he took his goals really well. And that's a confident player. Saw it at the start of the season. Even recently, a bit inconsistent. Frustrating, which he is. That's the type of player he is. It is what it is. But the numbers, and actually the way in which he finished, quality. Really good performance from Dan James. He was used right by Daniel Farke. He was effective because he was used right. And his ability was what he needed to do. Quick, direct, scored goals, created chances. Brilliant performance from Dan James. Really proud. Like a dad. Really proud. You know what I mean? It doesn't go down, really. Talk about Piroe real quick. Just because, look, he had a good game. I thought he was alright, actually. I've seen people saying he was ineffective. I disagree. I think Daniel Farke said this, and this is an interesting point. He said it was a game for quick players. Now, if that doesn't necessarily show you that Piroe isn't the perfect type of player for this system, I don't know what will. Daniel Farke loves quick players. Right? Quick, direct players who can make combinations and run off the last men. And Piroe isn't that. Hence why he's not as much involved in certain areas of the game. Piroe's either involved a quick bounce pass player, because he can do that really well, which he does. He can drop deep and be a bounce pass, or is that final product, a bit like Dan James. And that's his role. So he's not going to be a huge part of the build-up. He's not going to be. When we go to the byline and we're looking for those cutbacks, we're looking for spaces on edge of the box. That's why he's there, because that's where he's effective in this side. And without scoring yesterday, I actually thought he got more involved than the last few weeks, and he was quite effective. Because he's not going to have most touches in the game, because the system doesn't allow him to do that. Excuse me. The system doesn't allow that, because he's not the perfect type of player for the system, so we have to adapt his role and try and find a way to make it more effective. And Daniel Farke is trying to balance that. With everyone talking about this 9 and the 10 thing, about Piroe. Stop talking about Piroe. Piroe's the player he is. He's not quick. He's not going to stretch. Talk about Jorginho Rutter. Because the system works for him perfectly. And Piroe, we know what Piroe does. We know what Piroe can do. But the ceiling of Jorginho Rutter is through the roof. How do you get the best out of him with still having impact from Piroe? That's what we need to focus on. And right now, that's what we're doing. Jorginho Rutter is tearing this league up. What did he get? Assist or 2 yesterday? I can't remember. Yeah, he got Fakri right. It's just a wild day. But he's so impactful. So impactful. And he's just having fun and he's enjoying it and he's finding spaces and he's running at people and he's putting defenders on the backside. They can't get near him. That's what's working about these two. The way Piroe plays is allowing Jorginho Rutter to thrive and excel. And again yesterday, at times where you think he's lost the ball, and he's just not, because he's so quick. And he's actually a really smart footballer. And he's just growing and growing. Because the ceiling of this guy is ridiculous. And if we get promoted next season, I can't wait to unleash him after this season. The amount of football he'll get and the amount of exposure he'll get to English football, going back to the Premier League, a different person. He will be key, regardless if we do go up. Again, yesterday, Jorginho Rutter was unplayable at times, silky, smooth. There's even times where he's in front of goal and you're thinking, just hit it in the bottom corner, but he looks for the pass. And those are the key moments at times where he could add to his goals, because he's not got that many. But he doesn't feel like it, and it's not like he needs it. He can get these high scores without goals and assists, because that's how good he is. And that's crazy when you think about it for an attacking player. Because he's just so good, and he's a pivotal part in most build-up. He's excellent. He really is. And that ball to Cree, the calmness of it. What a player. What a player. 9. What a man. We'll go on the subs real quick. Anthony, he had an alright impact. Look, the game's done. The game was dead by then. There was literally no need to exert energy, because that just would provide more injury problems and fitness issues, especially at the end of the 3-game week. There was literally no need, although we all wanted to see it. The manager is not bothered about that. The manager wants to win the game and come out of it with extra minutes in the legs to take into the next game, with extra, fitness, with less injuries, less fatigue, and we did that. And the subs came on, and it was good, some good movement, some little play, not for long, but he came on, he was fine. Wayne Cooper, yeah, he's still that. It's that speed for me. It just feels slower, and he is, because he's older. It's normal. Oh, Cooper is now, but he's 30s, isn't he? So he's getting on. He is, and I just hope, sake against Leicester, that Rodon is okay because there was a bit of a hobble. But I feel like he should be. But yeah, Liam Cooper's a big part of the team, big part of that environment for sure. Working in that kind of situation, you need these people. People think you don't do. And Liam Cooper is a big part of that. He's the hub. He's the man people can come to. He's the guy people can rely on for advice, for information, for help in difficult moments. As a player, I think he'll even agree with this. Dominant position for him should be on the bench. And that's fine. It's a part of the evolution of football. It's the same for everyone. Might be the same for Jorginho Rutter if he's here for 10 years. In 10 years' time, that'll be the same for him. That's the way football is. And these two, I'll skip over. I won't go too much on Luke Ayling. Like, I don't think he was terrible. It's clearly not a step. So it's still clearly not at the level required, and in terms of a constant right back in a team that is wanting to win the league, effectively, or go up as in first or second. And we'll have Jed Spence back soon, and Jamie Shackleton is doing a decent job when he's required. Archie is doing a decent job when he's required. And the fact that they're playing would also suggest in Daniel Farke's plans, he knows Luke Ayling's levels are not at the level they were. I'm not going to sit here, going crazy about it because I just don't care. The manager don't pick him. He picks him to come on late in games, and that's fine for me. I'm not bothered. People over exaggerate when he gets 10 minutes on the pitch and talk about how he shouldn't be anywhere, he should be gone. Why are you so bothered about people being gone? Why are people in such a rush to get people gone? They're not a part of the future plans in terms of the next 5 years. That is clear by the position he's in right now. The fact that he's behind Shackleton and Archie and Jed Spence. It's not that deep. You need to chill out a bit. And Nonto was good. Again, came on direct. Like what he did. Just slows down too much sometimes for me, Nonto. He's not getting in dangerous positions enough to score goals and get assists. He's a bit deeper, and 1v1 situations, he's I know it's part of the system, but he's cutting it back too much. I just want to see him run at them a bit more. Because he can do it. He can destroy Premier League fullbacks. He can do this. Yeah, just a little one for him. But it was fine. This is what he did. Which is good to see. Because having Nonto on the bench is a decent option, isn't it? Let's be honest. Daniel Farke, just a quick one on him. Correct intensity from the start. Said this so much. We start games too. I don't know if it's slow. We don't seem to be at the intensity level required when teams, especially away, when teams come at us. We don't seem to match that today, and it is at home. So there's still that question about away, but we did match it. Actually, we did, and we were very effective from that. And we didn't allow Huddersfield to come into the game really. He allowed the team to be attacking and direct, hence the 4-0 at half time. Rotated key areas, wasn't afraid to make a change at right back, wasn't afraid to bring Kamara back into the fold, isn't afraid, when fans or people suggest this guy's not good enough or this guy's not good enough. Daniel Farke trusting these people, he plays the people he believes in, give Archie his rest. Clearly, 3 games in a week after the 3rd game was too much. That's where he needed that rest. That's where we have shown this slight fatigue there. And it's good that he's doing this. It's good that he's making changes because he has to trust the entire squad. And that's still key issues in the Gruev situation. We're still waiting for him to be at this level and waiting for Jed Spence to be back. Other people like Creswell and Gelhardt were not quite doing that. They're not quite gained his trust to be on the bench, which is a slight worry because you need that competition. But right now, I guess the main 14, 15 are doing the job really well and predominantly are staying fit, touch wood. So they're not required, but any game could be a curse and you could lose 2-3 players to injuries, and then you're suddenly looking at these players who've not been at that level. So we need to establish yourself, and those guys, they need to they want to be good enough in the Championship. This is the time to show it on the training ground, to get in that team, to get in that squad. Not people said they feel sorry for Creswell and Gelhardt, and I get that, but they're not in the team because they're not performing at a level that's required. Which is unlucky because they are talented players, we know that, but they've got to step up their game to be on the bench, to then have an impact on the game. That's what they've got to do, that's on them. It's the same for every footballer in the world. You've got to show the coach that you're good enough for that bench. They're clearly not doing that. That's on them. But yeah, that's all. I don't know what you guys think. I think excellent performance, very happy with it. Big game coming up at the weekend. We'll be ready. That's 3 or 4 levels up. Are we ready? We will see, but yeah, I appreciate all the support from you lot. Appreciate it. Bye.